Half of Americans support Hamas would be a clickbaity title. I don't think I'll use that. Be more accurate to say that 48% of young Americans in this poll support Hamas over Israel, which is wild. So let's get into that. Harvard Caps Harris put out a poll. I'm not going to tell you the date quite yet. We're going to come back to that. Where they interviewed 2,116 registered voters across the United States, which is on or about what these polls end up doing, right? And that number, the 1,800 to 2,500 is pretty standard, it seems. Talk about things like the mood of the country and how do you feel about the economic picture in the United States and who you're going to vote for, et cetera, et cetera. They got into some questions about the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas, and some of these were just unexpected. 18 to 24-year-olds, what's up, man? What do we do? Is it something we said? Hamas is a terrorist organization. We got to get this straight. I don't know. If we need to dive into that further, we can. They're deliberately targeting women and children. They're killing civilians in pursuit of their goals. It's not good. It's not a good, that's not one you're going to look back on in 5-10 years and say, I'm proud to have stood with Hamas. You can stand with the Palestinian people. You can support the Palestinian people. Got it. Just, find that line. Be careful of that line. Supporting terrorism, not a good thing. So they have this favorability rating thing, institutions, and a bunch of random ones up here, right? Like CNN or the FBI, U.S. military or Department of Justice, Black Lives Matter or China. So all over the map. Good news, if we're going to pull that out here, is Hamas is at the very bottom. The other way to look at that is that 14% of respondents have a net favorable rating of Hamas. This is a terrorist organization that deliberately targets women and children to achieve their political goals. And 14% of respondents said, you know what, overall, I'm pretty good with Hamas. I kind of like what they're up to. Now, to be fair, when we're talking about this group being a terrorist organization, it's not like there's one place in the world that happens and then everybody follows suit. There's always a little bit of disagreement there. So when it comes to Hamas, the countries that have labeled them as a terrorist organization, we've got Australia, Canada, European Union, Israel, of course, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and then Paraguay and New Zealand have listed the Al-Qassam Brigades as a terrorist organization. That's the militant wing of Hamas. But, starting out with this one, I know in all of these polls, you're going to have people that just want to be the outlier. They want to say something to get the shock factor. I'm sure there were some people here in the United States where after 9/11, just to be different or just to like poke someone in the eye, they said that they had a net favorable view of Al-Qaeda, right? So that's a number, but it's not 14%. That is way higher than I would have expected. Now I get a little fired up in the next couple parts here, so I'm going to take a breather, do an ad read, and thank the sponsor of today's video, Sonoran Desert Institute. If you've ever wanted to learn more about gunsmithing, firearms repair, or shooting sports management, SDI is worth checking out. The online programs at SDI cover armorer's courses, gunsmithing, ballistics, woodworking and finishes, shooting sports management, and more. Plus, tools and materials are shipped to your door for hands-on practice. SDI is DEAC recognized, can be a great way to kickstart a career you're actually interested in. Visit sdi.edu or call 480-999-4767 to learn more. And thank you to SDI for sponsoring this video. All right, deep breath. Here we go. Left to right, do you think Hamas is designated as a terrorist group by the U.S. government, or is that not the case? Kind of a throw-out question. I don't think that really matters. Maybe it's setting up some of these future questions, but 78% of people said that they do believe that Hamas is designated a terrorist entity. That would be accurate. The one on the right here. In general, in this conflict, do you side more with Israel or Hamas? Overall, 84% with Israel and 16% with Hamas. Again, nothing crazy there. Kind of what you would expect from that first survey we went through. But if you look at the age breakdown, all the way on the left here, the 18 to 24-year-old age group, 52% for Israel, 48% for Hamas. It's a coin toss between Israel and a terrorist organization. A coin toss. Are you kidding me? The margin of error here they threw out at the beginning was like 2.5%. So there you go, 50-50 for our 18 to 24-year-olds. What are you guys doing? What's the deal? What did we miss? What did we forget to say about these guys? I mean, I guess in their defense, maybe Al-Qaeda and Islamic State are actively talking about and trying to attack the United States. We are a primary target for those groups. Hamas is much more regionally focused, right? They're very focused on Israel and inside of Gaza and the West Bank. portions of Lebanon, portions of Egypt. They're not striking out at the United States, so maybe it's hard to view them in the same light as, again, Islamic State and Al-Qaeda. But the idea that a group of Americans are split 50-50, you can be supportive of the Palestinian people. It's awesome. And totally understandable, and be very sympathetic to the innocent lives of the Palestinians that are being killed during the ongoing war in Gaza. I understand that. I sympathize with that 100%. And I hope the fighting stops and that the children and the women and the innocents involved are no longer at risk of dying. But we got to find a way to walk that line. You know, having sympathy for the civilians caught in this war, you can have that and still not support a terrorist organization. It can be done. I feel like we're having a hard time walking that line at points, but we got to get there. We got to get there. You can support Palestinian people and you can support the Palestinian cause if you want without supporting a terrorist organization. There's ways to do that. I don't know if that's what we're missing here, the 52 to 48%, but again, I don't know, maybe I'm out of touch with reality. That seems magnitudes closer than I thought it ever would be. You might even see these numbers and think this is definitely from a long time ago, right? And people didn't really know the term Hamas and didn't understand how they fit into what's going on between Israel and the Palestinians. Wrong. This poll was on October 19th, so 2 weeks after Hamas terrorists moved into Israel and massacred women and children. 2 weeks after that, this question was asked. And at that point, 48% of this age group said, actually, I kind of like what I'm seeing there. Then shifting over to kind of U.S. involvement in the war, and should we or should we not get involved? Should the United States directly intervene in the conflict if Iran attacks Israel? 60% say yes. 60% of Americans say that the United States should go to war with Iran if Iran attacks Israel. Can we just not go to war at some point? Like, can there be a war happening somewhere around the world and we just we're not going to do it? Not going to get involved? Take a break for a little while? This is one of those where I don't know if people feel like that's the right thing to say. They know that Israel is one of our allies. So if one of our allies gets attacked, then we should automatically go to war. And I'm not even saying that a war with Iran is World War III. You know, an all-out confrontation with Russia would likely be much deadlier than a fight with Iran. But, you know, it's still really bad. Any war is bad. And Iran is a substantially more capable foe than we dealt with in Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria. Now, it's not even close. I have a hard, really? If Iran flew bombers over and started striking targets in Israel right now, really 6 out of 10 voters in the United States would say, yeah, let's go. We should put boots on the ground in Tehran. I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that that's actually the case. Is this just tough talk? I understand we need to be able to offer defense and support of our allies and all those things, but there's no details on this. It's just, is it one Iranian missile strike, land somewhere in Israel, and too bad Iran, here we come, Gulf War 3.0. Yes, we have interests in the Middle East that we want to protect. We have interests around the world that we want to protect. God, it seems like more and more there is just a push for us to get militarily involved everywhere at all times. I don't know. I guess in a perfect world, what I would like to see on this, and to be fair, they didn't offer this as an option. It was yes or no. But should the United States directly intervene in the conflict if Iran attacks Israel? How about we should talk about it? And what do they attack? And what are the repercussions? And how would we intervene? And what would this mean going forward? 60% chomping at the bit to get back after another war in the Middle East against a significant adversary? Really? Look, we didn't really even finish what we started in Iraq. We still got troops there. We have troops in Syria. We just barely left Afghanistan. The way this reads is not even a strike against American forces that kills U.S. service members. It's in this scenario, Iran attacks an Israeli military target. And then, 6 out of 10 Americans wake up the next day and say, that was it, time to go to war. Really? I don't know. That seems high. But that's all I got for now. Of course, if interested in national security subjects, be sure to check out the sit reps I put out on Substack. Link is in the description below. 7 to 10 of the top articles each week, along with a few podcast recommendations. But thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time.